You want answers?
I think I'm entitled.
You want answers?
I want the truth!
You can't handle the truth!
He said something that really hit home about this phenomena of chemtrails.
Phenomenon called chemtrails.
Looked in the sky and saw a stream of chemtrails.
Elongated across parts of southern Dade County into the Florida Bay and off into the Straits. This is what we call chaff. And what happens here, military jets, some come out of Key West Air Force Base, and they move off into the atmosphere, and they drop mylar strips, which some are coated. And if they come back to me on camera, they're about the size of this piece of paper, and they vary in size. Some could be a little wider, some are small glass fibers that are coated in aluminum. And what the Air Force does is they take their military jets and they dump these out of the aircraft, they fall into the atmosphere, and some take as much to a day to fall down.
In Northern California, we've got a bit of an unusual situation. Now, this first portion of the radar cycle, fairly bland and typical, but then you see these bands of very distinct cloud cover moving into the region. That is not rain, that is not snow. Believe it or not, military aircraft flying through the region is dropping chaff. Small bits of aluminum, sometimes it's made of plastic or even metallicized paper products, but it's used as an anti-radar issue, and obviously they're up there practicing. Now, they won't confirm that, but I was in the Marine Corps for many years, and I'll tell you right now, that's what it is.
Chemtrails are real. Until 1996, all condensation ice crystal trails only formed at 20,000 feet and higher, generally in the winter months, and they faded out in a few seconds to the maximum of 1 minute. Your whole life, remember, watching a trail go by and watching it disappear? Then suddenly in 96, before anybody was even talking about chemtrails, I would notice, man, why did those stay there? I'd be in, garden. And I'd go, man, that trail's been up there for like an hour, and it's getting bigger, turning into a cloud. What's going on? It's like cloud seeding. And then by 97, chemtrails. And they add it to the jet fuel, so it's compartmentalized. The pilots don't even know. And then they have some others where they do know, and they're spraying off, larger amounts.
Because we'd see it drop to the ground in a haze.
Nichols then noticed the material collecting on the ground.
This is water and stuff that I collected in bowls. I had it set out in my backyard on my dad's pickup truck.
KSLA News 12 had the sample tested at a lab. The results? A high level of barium, 6.8 parts per million, more than 3 times the toxic level set by the EPA. But those who fear chemtrails could be secret biological or chemical testing on the public point to the 1977 Senate hearings in particular, which confirmed 239 populated areas had been contaminated with biological agents between 1949 and 1969. Later, the 1994 Rockefeller Report concluded hundreds of thousands of military personnel were also subjected to secret biological experiments over the last 60 years. But could secret testing be underway yet again?
We spoke with Mark Ryan, the director of the Poison Control Center. Ryan tells KSLA News 12 that short-term exposure can lead to anything from stomach to chest pains. Long-term exposure causes blood pressure problems. Ryan addressed concerns by chemtrail researchers that barium could be meant to wear down a person's immune system.
Look, this is what has farmers worried. These tiny dots look as though something burned straight through the leaf, and they're finding this everywhere.
We found it all in the herbs, in the flowers, in the plum tree, in the weeds. It's apparently on everything.
Now, the farmers that we spoke with are convinced that something in the air caused this damage. They're asking the USDA as well as other experts to look into this problem, and we are too.
I have it all right here. They're spraying sulfur dioxide, they're spraying barium salts over every U.S. city, and they admit it causes... It causes neurological effects and behavioral changes as the federal government, the disturbance of blood circulation, heart damage, effects on eyesight and eyes, reproductive failure, damage to immune systems, stomach and gastrointestinal disorder. It goes on, liver damage, kidney function, hearing defects, disturbances in hormonal metabolic system, dermatological effects, suffocation and lung embolism. Sorry, go ahead.
So there's some ideas about, so you go to an engineering firm and you want this done. They don't say this is hard or unusual. They say, okay, yes, we could do it. Aerosol geoengineering looks like it is so cheap that the cost is basically not going to be an issue. That means that implementation decisions will be risk-to-risk decisions. The risk of doing it against the risk of not doing it. And it makes the problem of how we govern it fundamentally harder and different and novel. So I've told you that it's cheap to deliver materials to the stratosphere, and I'm convinced that's true. I don't think that will change. But I think the more we do research, the less easy this will look, the more complicated the environmental effects will look. And that's a good thing, because right now it looks too easy. So I think that if we do more research, we're likely to find out that it's harder and more complicated than we thought, and that the side effects are harder to manage, and that's a healthy outcome that will make it easier to do the management. Of course, the opposite reaction is possible. It's an empirical question, how people will actually react to knowledge about this. Another reaction is to say, if these crazy scientists are so concerned about putting CO2 in the atmosphere, they want to think about these things, then that might actually mean we should be more serious about the risks of CO2 in the atmosphere. And by the way, it's not really a moral hazard, it's more like free riding on our grandkids. And by the way, it's not really a moral hazard, it's more like free riding on our grandkids. And it's not even close to being an issue.
So 10 megatons of aluminum dumped into the atmosphere would have no human health impact.
So let me be more careful here. To separate out the toxicological, so the alumina we've only begun to research and published nothing. Alumina we've only begun to research and published nothing.
And we're joined today by Dr. Gwen Scott, MD, and she is a naturopathic doctor and former CNN News anchor.
The genesis of all the jet planes, but they are especially outfitted to spray this. And
so this is deliberate.
Sorry.
This is deliberate then.
Yeah, I believe there's over 250 acknowledged by the government experiments, biological experiments done on Americans. So this is not new in that respect. Any chat about it in Congress, and there's been no putting it in front of the American people. How would you like a bunch of heavy metals, fibers, polymers, biological materials delivered to you in such a fine particulate that with every breath you take, it goes immediately into your bloodstream? I would suspect most Americans would go, excuse, what? You know, what are you putting in me? By the way, he is the first and only that I know of scientist. He matched the fibers that have not only collected here, but he gets packages from all over the world, people sampling and sending things to him. And he matched those fibers absolutely positively with the ones that are now presenting, coming out of people's bodies, and it's being called Morgellons disease. Mm-hmm. It's not a disease. This is a healthy body trying to get rid of stuff that doesn't belong. And where you're sitting, you wouldn't see them at all. But as you breathe, they go directly into your blood supply and are systemic, meaning system-wide to your whole body in less than a minute. That's something to really think about.
We need for humanity to wake up to what they're doing to Mother Earth, to what they're creating, a very big imbalance on Mother Earth. And we need to stop it now.